Lee Min-ho's story doesn't start with fame, a spotlight, or applause. It starts with something far quieter. An instinct, a pull, a strange sense that he was meant for something bigger than anything he had ever seen. Most people only know the polished superstar, the global icon with the smooth voice and the unforgettable characters. But before the world called his name, Lee Min-ho was quietly building a legend without even realizing it. Imagine a young boy who didn't dream of the crown, yet kept walking the very road that would one day place it on his head. He wasn't the loudest in the room. He wasn't chasing attention. He was observant, calculating, absorbing everything like someone gathering tools for a mission he hadn't fully understood yet. And maybe that's what makes his rise so unique. His journey never felt like a race. It felt like destiny unfolding in real time. The world sees Lee Min-ho as the man who carries characters effortlessly, but what they don't see is the constant transformation that happens behind each role. He never shows the struggle, only the result. When others were trying to be seen, he was studying how to make people feel. When others were memorizing lines, he was learning how to command silence. When others were performing, he was listening to the room, to the energy, to the invisible things that often shape unforgettable scenes. There is something deeply intriguing about someone who doesn't need noise to create impact. Before the fame, he learned how to speak without speaking, how to stand out while standing still, how to build presence without trying too hard. People call it charisma, but in his case, it feels more like intention. He knows exactly when to step forward and exactly when to disappear into the shadows. Not because he is timid, but because he understands moments. And understanding moments is what later made him unstoppable. Behind every great story, there's always a turning point. For Lee Min-ho, it wasn't one moment. It was a series of small, almost invisible shifts. The times he chose to stay later than everyone else. The times he read a script not once but 10 times. The times he listened instead of speaking. The times he decided to give more than what was required. All these little decisions created a pattern. And patterns always create outcomes. Most people only know the accident, the one that nearly ended everything before it even began. But they don't know what it unlocked inside him. Surviving something that terrifying doesn't leave you unchanged. It either breaks you or rebuilds you. For him, it sharpened everything. His focus, his hunger, his sense of purpose. When you've stood face to face with something life-threatening, you stop living passively. You start chasing life with a kind of quiet fire. And Lee Min-ho carried that fire into every audition, every scene, every set, every role he has touched since. He became the kind of actor who doesn't just act, he embodies. There's a reason his characters stay in people's minds long after the screen fades to black. He knows how to create emotional fingerprints. His performances linger. They echo. They leave traces. Whether he is playing a king trapped between worlds, a chaebol heir with more wounds than wealth, or a hero who loves too deeply, he gives the kind of sincerity that is rare in a world built on illusion. But his evolution didn't stop at acting. Over the years, Lee Min-ho began shaping a new version of stardom, one not built on scandal or chaos, but consistency, discipline, and the art of showing up. At a time when many celebrities rose through viral noise, he rose through credibility. He understands reputation the way an architect understands blueprints. He doesn't build randomly, he builds with intention. That is why his brand feels stable, enduring, almost unshakable. What people admire most is that he never rushes. He has mastered the slow burn. When he is absent, people feel it. When he returns, people celebrate it. He has turned his presence into an event. Not by force, but by timing. He knows when to step back, when to step forward, and when to reinvent. He never overexposes himself, yet he never disappears long enough to be forgotten. He balances relevance and mystery with uncommon precision. And maybe that's the secret of his longevity. He doesn't try to be everywhere. He chooses where he belongs. He chooses what deserves his time. He chooses what adds meaning. And because he chooses carefully, everything he touches carries weight. But behind the precision, there is still the boy who grew up dreaming of something simple. People see the confident man, but they don't see the inner softness that shaped him long before the fame. His friends say he used to dream about directing, not acting. That his first real passion wasn't being in front of the camera, but behind it, studying angles, lighting, storytelling, the mechanics of emotion. Acting wasn't the first dream, it was the path that found him. And maybe that's why he performs with such observant detail. He sees scenes the way a filmmaker sees them. He feels timing the way a director feels it. He isn't just delivering lines, he is building frames. Yet even with all the craft and all the professionalism, he still holds onto traits that surprise people. He is known to be playful, spontaneous, unpredictable with his humor. The kind of person who can switch from serious to silly in a heartbeat. The kind of man whose real personality is often the opposite of the powerful characters he plays. He's not always the stern hero, the composed king, or the icy millionaire. In reality, he can be relaxed, curious, unexpectedly warm, and naturally funny. There is a softness to him that doesn't always make it into his roles, but it lives in the spaces between scenes, in the behind-the-scenes clips, in the fan encounters, in the small moments that reveal more than scripted ones ever could. One of the most fascinating things about Lee Min-ho is how deeply he understands his audience. He knows exactly how to keep people invested without giving away too much. He knows how to create anticipation with a single photo, a subtle caption, or a silence that feels intentional. He knows how to maintain excitement without resorting to chaos. While many celebrities depend on constant updates, he uses spacing. He uses pauses. He uses mystery. It's not that he hides, he curates. He crafts a balance that keeps fans emotionally engaged. And the truth is, his fans don't just admire him, they evolve with him. He has grown from a rising actor to a global star, from an on-screen prince to a respected industry figure, and his audience has followed every step. His career is not built on one era, it is built on multiple reinventions. And that is the mark of someone who plans for longevity rather than momentary fame. Still, the most captivating thing about him isn't the career, the looks, or even the talent. It's the mindset. Lee Min-ho operates with the mentality of someone who understands both his power and his purpose. He respects the craft, respects the people he works with, and respects the audience who supports him. He knows that fame is not a right, it's a responsibility. And he carries that responsibility with a kind of grace that feels increasingly rare in the entertainment industry. He is the kind of star who knows when to lead and when to follow, when to challenge a script and when to surrender to it, when to take risks and when to remain grounded. He doesn't just chase success, he preserves it. He cultivates it. He tends to it like a garden. And that is why his career continues to bloom long after others have faded. The world loves Lee Min-ho for many reasons, but one of the biggest is this. He gives the feeling of someone who is still becoming. Someone who has achieved so much, yet still feels like he has more to offer. Someone who has mastered many roles, yet still hasn't played his greatest one. Someone who has lived many chapters, yet still stands at the edge of something new. That anticipation, wrapped in mystery, discipline, and charisma, is what makes him unforgettable.